I'm Dan Morris, you're watching Boast and Dan Bushcraft. We are in the garage again, don't worry about that for the moment though, because I have an issue, a bit of a bug to bear, or whatever you want to call it, a bone to pick, or, not really, I'm making it sound like I'm annoyed, I'm not. I came up with an idea the other day, a thought of something I would like to bring to the world of bushcraft. Some people might think it's a strange thought to have, but it's not. So a couple of days ago I was wandering around the wonderful little town of Bakewell. Beautiful place, if you've never been to Bakewell, worth a visit. Car parking's reasonable. I was wandering around the shops up there and I was just doing some general knife shopping. I don't know why, I woke up that morning with an urge to go and find another knife. As bushcrafty people tend to do. You can never have enough knives. Now I wandered into a shop and came across a knife maker that I had never in my life heard of, which is interesting because they're only actually produced just up the road from me. That got me to thinking. Vitamin coffee. That got me to thinking. Now, in the world of bushcraft, we have all been somehow convinced that foreign metal is better. Most of us are walking around with blades that are Swiss, I don't know, Dutch, Holland, all your sort of European-y countries, all your sort of ex-Viking states that have somehow managed to wiggle their way into the British market and make us think that their blades are the finest blades ever made. I don't know how they've achieved that. They've somehow got in there and made us think that this is more exotic. For some reason it's better, it's this, it's that, it's the other, and I am no exception to this. I have European blades. I've got your usuals, your Folk Nivens and your things like that, Heller and all of these sorts of things. I own those as well. Which, why wouldn't you? It's what we know, it's what we see, it's what's out there. But that made me think, why? Why, as English bushcrafters, are we shopping Europe and other places for blades, when just up the road from me is a place called Sheffield? It's actually on the edge of Yorkshire, I believe. Sheffield is a world-renowned steel producer. It is also one of the oldest known places to have used and worked steel. And Sheffield is exceptionally well known for knives. Knife making, at the moment, well, sort of in the later stages of the 20th century, they did become more known for cutlery production and making some of the finest cutlery on the planet. And your companies like Cunard and White Star and all of those sorts of people would get cutlery from Sheffield, the same as they would get all their pots, plates, cups. They would come from the potteries, as your Wedgwoods and all of those sorts of people. But we had an industry which could well be argued for being the finest knife-making industry in the world. Yet we're all walking around with foreign blades in our pockets and in our bushcraft kits. Why? Why? A little bit of a brief history of Sheffield. I'm going to have to keep it a brief history because, having looked into it a bit, the actual history of steel production in Sheffield is absolutely enormous and goes back so stupidly long. It's fascinating, really. But by the 14th century, now that's a hell of a long time ago, but by the 14th century, Sheffield was already known for its production of steel and its production of knives. A Sheffield-made knife was found in the possession of Edward III at the Tower of London in 1340. That's even earlier. Now, as early as 1379, 25% of the Sheffield population was listed as working in steel production. That's a quarter of the population, which, if you think about it, it's kind of mad. Like, a quarter doesn't sound like a big number. Well, yeah, but how many people that you've got to think that's the whole population? How many of those would have been rather young children or rather old people? It's a significant number. Now, Sheffield changed the world of steel. In the 18th century, Benjamin Huntsman's crucible steel is a process that he created of making steel. Excuse me. And the crucible steel process literally revolutionised the steel making process. In the 19th century, Henry Bessemer invents what's known as the converter furnace, causing what was called the Bessemer boom. Basically, it was just a huge boom in steel production that spread out across the world. Now, that type of metal that he invented that come from that furnace was later used in armour plating on pretty much all British warships of that period and beyond. Many of us are walking around with knives from all over the place, tucked away in our pockets, and a lot of them will quite proudly say somewhere on them, stainless steel. And stainless steel, would you believe? Where was stainless steel invented, I hear you scream? Sheffield, England, 1913. Rustless steel invented in Sheffield, England. Now it's worldwide. It started here. Now, obviously, as tends to happen over the years, and I'm not blaming everybody for buying foreign blades for this, but there has been obviously a decline in Sheffield steel production and knife making production, which is a bit of a shame. But we are in Sheffield having a little bit of a renaissance right now. It's coming back. The artisan and crafting cultures of Sheffield is coming back. Steel production is on the rise. Not massively, but it is on the rise, particularly in the guise of knife making. And there are actually rather a lot of the old school knife makers who are still out there producing to this very day. The people who have managed to survive recessions, problems, imports and everything like that. Anyhow, now, like I said, so I was out wandering around in Bakewell, knife shopping, and found a knife maker that rather shamefully I have never in my life heard of. Terrible, considering these things are made not that very far away from me. Sheffield is not that far from here. And that company is called Eyewitness. Taylor's Eyewitness, to be more specific. As you can see, the symbol there is literally the eye. It does look a little Egyptian-y. And then just, Eyewitness. Those will be printed on your blades as well. Now, I found this in a shop. It was actually a shop that predominantly sells cooking equipment and cooking utensils. And it just struck me as rather odd, because for all the knives that I find in outdoor shops and things like that, why are these companies not on sale in there? I find that weird. How have I never come across this company before in all my dealings with bushcraft? Well, it's because anywhere you go to buy knives, they will largely be from the European market, from European steel makers. Even though the technology that they boast, you got it from Sheffield. I don't care what they say, you got the technology from Sheffield. And there is this whole misconception that Viking steel was really good. It wasn't. It was terrible. Most Viking places, I know there's more than one country where the Vikings really come from, they didn't have a lot of steel. They used to steal iron every time they went off raiding. Everybody thinks that they were just after jewels and gold, and where the heck, they were after anything. They'd nick your grain, they'd take your cows, they'd steal your iron. In fact, the Vikings, when they started raiding this country, were rather surprised to find that our steel was better than theirs. Now, this is far before Sheffield steel manufacturers. What did they do in response to that? Well, they started taking blacksmiths home with them as well. And that's where all your Scandi steel started to improve. It actually started here. Like it or not, that's the truth. Now then, these things. I'm just going to read for you what it says on the back of the box, because rather charmingly, they've given us a nice bit of their own history. Taylor's Eyewitness is synonymous with the finest quality Sheffield steel ever since Cutler John Taylor founded the legend in 1838, quite a while ago. John's keen eye for the best raw materials and uncompromising standards of craftsmanship have been passed down through generations. Eyewitness penknives, farmers' knives and stock knives have been a treasured possession throughout the world for over 150 years and are still made by hand in Taylor's Eyewitness Sheffield factory. In Sheffield we have no time for quibbling, which is why all eyewitness pocket knives are covered by a lifetime guarantee. And then it goes in to tell you how to care for your pocket knife. It basically just says sharpen it and oil it. It's pretty much all it says. Now, it says quite proudly on the box as well, lifetime guarantee. Can't say fairer than that. And here is the beast in question, the Endurance Spear Point, as it proudly says on the box, pattern number 743. Now, this is a slightly more modern take on their style of pocket knife that they've always produced. That isn't wood; it is a resin, so it's a fibre feel resin, so it's very, very grippy. Unlike a lot of their older stuff that's riveted together, this one's got some little bolts through it, which is handy because should it ever come loose, you can just tighten it straight back up. That's obviously any folding knife. Your enemy is if it starts to wobble. We'll touch on that in a minute, actually. And it is a charming little folding pocket knife. Yeah, razor shave your hair sharp, as you would expect. Really large, solid, weighty handle on that there. Something good, solid and steady to get a nice grip on, which, as we all know, when you're working in the woods and your hands are getting slippery and sweaty, very important. It's just a good solid lump that's going to last a lifetime. That was £25. 25 quid for something that's potentially going to last forever. Now, they don't just make folding knives, and they're not the only knife company. This is not just one big advert for this company, by the way. Do a bit of research. There are loads of still Sheffield artisan knife makers. Yeah, so have a look around. But just to go back onto this this particular company, I didn't realise this. I did unknowingly already have one of their knives in my collection, and it tickled me because as soon as I'd seen the symbol and read the packaging, I thought, let's go check, let's just go and have a look and see. And it turns out I have one of their blades already, which is this thing here. Old, tatty, rough, heavily used. This was given to me by a friend. Shout out to Dan. This was, he found this apparently under a tractor seat of a vehicle he was either working on or whatever he was doing. He does a lot of that sort of stuff with machinery. And he found this and he said, I know it's your sort of thing, would you like it? Now, I've no idea how old this thing is or what pattern it is, what it is at all. I just know it's made by that company. Have emailed them. Haven't got a reply just yet to tell me any more about it, but I'm sure they will get back to me at some point. What is interesting, though, aside from it having the little break in the handle cover in there, it has clearly had an arduous and long life. Now, I've cleaned this thing up and sharpened it a bit. It's a sensitive clean. I haven't gone mental with it because, you know, I like a bit of the patina. But you could tell by the damage on the blade that its previous owner, although it must have been much loved, its previous owner was no expert when it comes to sharpening. The work down the blade was rather rough. But even with that abuse that it suffered, it didn't take me very long to put a fine razor edge on this blade, and it is exactly that right now. You can just feel it. But what I find most interesting about this particular knife is through all of the use and abuse that this thing has clearly had, there's no wobble. That hinge is rock solid. There is no movement whatsoever. I have no idea how old this actually is. It's older than me. This has been around a lot longer than I have. You can tell that by looking and just by the style. As I'd guess, this sort of fake antler thing, it's giving off 60s, 70s vibes to me. I'm not sure. But she's still absolutely rock solid. It's still got a hell of a lot of life left in it. And it's still neat, tidy, folds up beautifully. What more could you ask for? This one is evidence of it doing exactly what it says. Keep it oiled, keep it sharp. It's going to last you a lifetime. And you get to keep a British industry going. Now, if you're like me and you quite like collecting knives and stuff, I took a wander around some local antique places and stuff like that and came up with all of these babies, tiny, beautiful little pocket knives. Every one of these made in Sheffield. I can't tell you the age, I can't even tell you the companies. I know I've got a few by the company Richards. They've got a lovely, their symbol is a beautiful little like Victorian gas lamp stamped into the blade. There's one that's got 2 crossed arrows that's Sheffield, England. I don't know. I haven't had time really to research all of those. All of these were available at little antique fairs and stuff. I think the most expensive one was a £5. Most of them were £3, £4. This one's my absolute favourite. It's just the most utilitarian little thing I have ever sort of seen. I have given it a bit of a clean, if you're wondering why it's so shiny. It's just simplicity in itself. It has nothing on it that it doesn't need, and everything that it does. It's just got 2 blades on it that I've again sharpened. Didn't take much time to turn them straight away into razors. And I just find with this one that the lack of faff with it just makes it absolutely a charming little blade. This one, however, is made by the company Butler, as it says on it. Their symbol is a key, and it just says Butler on the blade there. And again, I've no idea if that company's still going or not. But wow, it's just a stunning little utilitarian thing. Still as functional now as the day it was made. Again, no wobble. No wobble in these blades. Absolutely solid. Perfect little thing. And I think that one was one of the ones that was about £4. And it's just handy in your collection. I haven't got round to cleaning and sharpening all of them. Some of them are the same sort of idea. Charming little twin blader. But look at the detail. If you can see it. You see how they've decorated it, prettied it up a bit. Even though it's such a sweet little perfect thing. Or at least in my eye it is, because it's the kind of thing I like. And there's this vicious rumour, it's a con going around, that you can have too many knives. Nonsense. Nonsense at all. As a bushcrafter, you can never have enough blades. So then, what is the purpose of all my waffle? Well, it's a question more than anything. Why? Why are we all carrying foreign steel when we have such a heritage? There is like companies like Wilkinson Sword. We all know them for razor blades, don't we? Their logo is 2 crossed swords. Reason is, there was a time when Wilkinson Sword had the entire contracts of the Navy, producing every cutlass that went into the Royal Navy, every blade out there, indeed razors too. They are not just makers of shaving systems. So you're probably wondering then, what is the point of this video and all of this waffle? Well, I'll tell you. We've all been around people of a certain generation that says, oh, British industry's gone, we've let it go, it's been stolen by X, Y and Z. It hasn't been stolen, we've let it go. We have let it go. How have we let it go? Well, the number one way is we've started shopping elsewhere ourselves. Can't expect the rest of the world to be buying our products if we ourselves aren't. We have produced everything we could ever need, and yet for one reason or the other, be it cost or just be it marketing, because we all know buying a blade, it's very rare we worry that much about price. What we do like is how it makes us feel, particularly with your, ooh, Viking metal, or all this, oh, it's Damascus. It isn't, it's just folded steel, it's not Damascus, and it ain't any better than anything else neither, I can tell you that with some certainty. What they call Damascus is somebody's interpretation of it, that's just to put a wavy, printy, lovely, beautiful pattern on it. And it's all out there, you can see people all over the world like, oh look, I can turn this bike chain into Damascus steel. No, you can't. No, you can't. And for a start, a lot of the metals that they will do that with, yes, it looks very pretty, they're inappropriate for knife making. There are many grades of steel, but they are not all the same. So what is my point? Well, we're letting this industry go. Sheffield knife making really needs to be saved. You can help. Get some England in your pocket. Get some Sheffield in your damn pockets, guys and girls. Go and get yourself a nice piece of Sheffield in your pocket for your collection. You just might like it. Good old-fashioned homegrown quality. I would like to see more of a resurgence in knife making in Sheffield. These people are artisans. This is a history that dates back, from what I've seen, damn near 1,000 years. If not, I have no idea when the first person decided to make a little foundry and start tapping away at metal in Sheffield. No idea exactly when that begun, and probably nobody does. But it's probably more long-standing than anywhere in the world. Bold claim. Check it out online. You'll see it's not that far-fetched. So really what I'm saying is, get out there, get bushcrafting, get having fun, get looking for Sheffield knives. Keep all your others, buy others too. But why not have a little piece of England in your pocket? Because when it comes to these skills of knife making that have been developed over so many centuries, when it's gone, it's gone.